And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us for another exciting episode of Omnibros Live. Tonight, we will be covering Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm going to warn you ahead of time that the first half of this will be our regular show where we go over through what we picked up, what we're reading, and then we're going to get into non-spoilers, and then we will warn you before we jump into spoilers for those of you that haven't seen the film. With me, as always, is, ladies and gentlemen, your Omni Dog, the Silver Fox, who also has a special announcement for you guys tonight. Mr. Jess Bragg, how are you, sir?
Hey now, hit him with the hind.
Baba Booey.
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, man. Okay, so you have a special announcement for everybody out there in YouTube world. What's going on with you?
That's right. For the first time ever, OmniDog has a YouTube channel now. I just started it up this morning. I have 5 vids that are there for content, and I'm going to do a couple more tonight. It is called, OmniDog's Vault. OmniDog's Vault. If you search OmniDog's Vault in YouTube, that you will come up with my page, and I'm very excited about it, and I thank you both for encouraging me to do it. I couldn't have done it without your help, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
There was a lot of feedback. A lot of fans were saying, when is Jess going to start a YouTube channel? We really wanted him to do his own channel, and you guys wanted it, and you're getting it now.
Yeah, let's hope I don't muck it up. It's my big chance.
No. He's doing fine. I've seen a few of his videos already. He's doing really well.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Somebody's already saying that they subscribed. A lot of people are saying, yes, finally. That's good news. See, a lot of people are excited to hear it.
Good. All right. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, well, I couldn't have done it without the experience of this show, because this show's definitely helped me have a better online presence. So this has been a great experience.
It's been a pleasure having you, as always. We also have some good news in terms of like a little bit of what's going on backstage. As of 5 minutes ago, Matt Miranda is in charge of HR, so any problems, you run them through him.
This spit powder, Jess was late today, and we just can't deal with that, so we're going to have to write him up, but we had to send it through HR first.
I'm getting a shot, huh? Like in Orange is the New Black?
Yeah.
That's a shot.
You're going to head to the shoe.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I lost track of time. I was making dinner, and I totally lost track of time.
Yeah, no excuses.
That's fine.
I suck.
That's okay. No, you don't.
Riley thinks I do.
With me to my right, I guess, my right, your right, is your grand poobah, the omnibus collector himself, Mr. Riley Moore. How's it going, man?
It's good. It's good. I read a book this week, so it's a good week. It was a small book, but I still read it.
Hey, it counts. You know,
I think every
book counts.
Was it Hop on Pop?
Close.
You know, I realized for a comic book channel, with the exception of Jess, we don't really read that many comics in the week.
I read a fuck ton of comics. Like, I read about 40 single issues every week. But I don't read all of my collected editions. But I buy collected editions based on which singles I've read and have enjoyed and have decided that I want in hardcover format in my collection. So I'll go through and tell you, like, this is what I got this week. I've already read this. I've already read this. I've already read this. So,
have you read the Punisher 4 there that I see on your shelf that some guy got you?
I haven't gotten to start reading my Punisher stuff yet because I was already like, I'm a third into my Berserk reading. So I finish that.
Whew, man.
Isn't that like 39 volumes?
Oh, yeah.
7, my good sir.
37?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've only read about 5 volumes so far, so I've got a while to go.
I think I'm halfway-ish through volume 9, so about a fourth, I guess, through the reading, and it's continued to be really enjoyable. I just slow down because I save reading that for after my weekly stuff. And then I was also reading other manga series because if it's like a single volume that comes out that I need to read, I'll read that ahead of like 30 volumes of something else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Can we see your shirt a little bit?
I was just about to comment on that.
Groot Loops.
Groot Loops, to tie into tonight's topic.
Honey bunches of holes.
Our topic tonight is breakfast cereal.
Yay! Something I know about.
Bro, oh, you want to talk? Okay, Honey Nut Cheerios for me.
It's got a free gauntlet inside. I like Reese's Puffs, and I like Cocoa Puffs, and I like anything that's really bad for me. Do y'all remember Waffle Crisp cereal?
Oh yeah. God, yeah, those are good.
I like that.
I'm a big Fruity Pebbles guy.
I like everything.
Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles. I love those.
Cocoa Puffs are my weakness, man.
And then you get to drink the milk afterwards.
Yeah.
You don't even have to buy chocolate milk. You already made it yourself.
So it's kind of funny that you mentioned you read 40 singles a week, because I just did a video on my channel that's like the paper versus digital. Where do you fall on that?
I read digital basically necessity.
Same.
And then I read paper for collections.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously I have no lack of paper books here, but I also read a fuck ton of things on my computer every week.
Yeah, I'm a digital guy. I use my girl's iPad because she has one, and I just read books off of Comixology. So there are some people out there that actually commented this week saying, "Hey, your collection looks like it's getting smaller," and I'm like, actually, yeah, it's because I'm pairing off a lot of stuff.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm selling off a lot of stuff, and I'm not going exclusively digital, but there's a lot of stuff on this shelf that I'm like, I'm probably not going to reread this again, or I just read this digitally, or I'll use the Marvel Unlimited app. So I am pairing off a bunch of stuff. It's just where I'm at in life, it works better for me in certain aspects because we're still renting, and moving everything is a pain in the ass and all this other stuff. So in the grand scheme, it works better for certain things.
Yeah, I know Lewis McGregor has gone digital and sold off practically his whole collection, it seems like.
Yeah, and I continue to give him shit for that. Every time he posts something, I'm like, you don't like comics, Lewis. What are you talking about?
He sells comics so he can buy statues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Matt Miranda about that this week, chairman of HR. He is kind of in the same boat as me, where he sold off a lot of his stuff, and he's gone not full digital, but for the most part digital.
Yeah, I noticed Matt was selling a bunch of his stuff.
Nick is also digital as well, apparently. Our former intern.
I just can't go like full or even near full digital because I've my entire life I've been very, very like what's the materialistic is the word I'm looking for. Like I've always had physical collections of something. Like growing up I had just physical collections of, well, I guess you can't really have a non-physical collection of action figures and Pokemon cards. But yeah, I grew up collecting action figures and Pokemon cards, and then video games, movies, CDs. I used to have like a huge collection of CDs, and I sold all those off because I didn't have the room for them, and I wind up just having them on my computer anyway. And I mean, everyone fucking torrents music or uses Spotify, so it doesn't matter. But now I used to have a huge collection. Like I had an entire one of these Billy shelves, like one of the thicker ones, full of DVDs.
Wow.
Top to bottom. And I sold all of my DVDs and condensed it only down to Blu-rays instead. And I originally meant to like rebuy a lot of those DVDs on Blu-ray, but that's an expensive endeavor that I wasn't prepared to take on. And then I've been collecting manga since I was like 12. So that I've sold a lot of my manga. I used to have, there was probably another 200 or 300 volumes that I used to have of series. that I just wasn't as entranced with, so I didn't care that much. And then comics, I've just continued to grow and grow and grow. And while I've sold off all but like one short box full of single issues, I've just obviously maintained a physical collection of paperbacks and hardcovers, because that's just it's what gets me up in the morning, man.
Yeah. I see somebody's mentioning, guys, don't worry. It doesn't mean that I'm just going to go exclusively digital and I'm not going to do reviews and stuff. I'm still going to review hardcovers and trade paperbacks. It's just I'm pairing off a bunch of old stuff. I do this like once every year and a half. Just get rid of extra stuff that I've got. Because I started noticing that I started accumulating stuff, and I look at my shelf and I'm like, I am never going to read this again. So there goes that. Yeah. Let's see. I saw something in here. I'll be sending. Do you have your pod collection? Who is he talking to? Who has a pod collection?
Pogs?
Pogs? Like Alf?
I don't know.
Remember Alf? He's back in Pog form.
He is?
That's a line from The Simpsons.
Remember Pogs? They're back in Alf form.
So I guess
someone said that I remind them of Max Bemis, and I take that as a huge compliment, even though my wife actually absolutely hates Say Anything. Like, I love everything that Max Bemis does.
Who is Max Bemis?
He's the singer of Say Anything, and he wrote the worst X-Men.
Oh, yeah, great comic.
You praise that a lot. I need to sit down and read that.
Yeah,
that was a great comic.
I love that book. I love him. I love other things that he's done. And saying that is a huge compliment to me, because he's kind of a real role model due to the fact that he struggles with depression, but he has like the most positive outlook on everything ever. And like, if you've ever gone through his Twitter page, he's like super positive about everything in life. And I love his outlook. It's fantastic.
Oh, I'll definitely follow him. What's his name again?
Max Bemis. It's Max.
Okay.
Bemis.
Sounds good. All right. I guess we're gonna just move on into what have you bought this week? Anybody? Anybody want to go? I haven't bought anything. I'm just telling you right now.
I have a stack of stuff, so I'll start going through mine. All right, so starting small and going big. First thing I have on the stack is Volume 8 of My Hero Academia. I have not started reading this one yet. It's on the top of my pile right now. I absolutely have been loving this series. I highly recommend it to anyone who's a fan of anime, manga, and superheroes. I've talked about it a lot, but basically the idea is just a bunch of kids in a school for superheroes, similar to like Avengers Academy or something like that. Next, and this one I did read, Dragon Ball Super Volume 1.
Hey.
The first volume of the manga adaptation of the currently running anime. If you're watching it, you'll probably find some enjoyment out of it, but it is a really, really, really dumbed down version of the events of the anime. For instance, if you've seen Battle of the Gods, the movie, and of course was also made up the first 14 episodes of the series, it's condensed into 3 chapters, which is a third of this book. And then they skip Resurrection of F and go right into the big like Universal tournament, and it just goes really, really fast. And it's pretty much exactly adapting like everything. So there's no extra material, but it's just kind of fun to have this on the shelf along with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Fans will probably find enjoyment out of it. If you're not a fan of Dragon Ball, you're just going to be like, this is bullshit. Then One Piece Volume 82, collecting chapters, just because I want to remember what chapters, how high they are. 817 through 827.
That's a manga I've always wanted to dive into, but there's so many volumes that it intimidates the shit out of me.
The best thing to do is just to buy the box sets.
I know.
The first box set has the first 26 volumes, which is like the first 2 arcs. And you buy that, and it's like $100. You read all of that, and if you enjoy it, then you're pretty much going to be set on enjoying the rest of the series. But yeah, I'm actually a little bit behind again on One Piece. I need to catch up with the Japanese weekly chapters. I'm probably about like half of a year behind at this point. But I like doing that because I like reading them in larger chunks anyway. Then I've got last manga for the week is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 Stardust Crusaders Volume 3. Continuing to recollect the only part that was previously in English. This collects chapters 27 through 40, which goes through the Emperor, Empress, and Wheel of Fortune story arcs of JoJo. Part 3. All of those, every arc is pretty much named after a tarot card in that story.
That's cool.
Then I've got The Flash by Mark Waid, Volume 2. Interesting thing to note, because people were curious about this before, as I noted, it does collect issues 30 and 31 and 40 of Green Lantern, as written by one, what's his name, that guy that did some shit, one Gerard Jones. And they do credit him in the book. So
that guy.
Yeah. So if you were wondering if they were gonna cut this stuff out, Gerard Jones's Green Lantern issues are still in the book. He's still credited.
Yeah.
Not on the cover, but on the inside he is on multiple places. But they still his second Green Lantern volume is still canceled. So we'll see what happens as that whole case goes down. I don't really want to go into depth with it, but if you haven't heard about what happened, just Google Gerard Jones and you'll probably find the case on there. Then I've got Saga, the second hardcover, collecting issues 19 through 36. So the second part of the series, you get to see each part kind of takes place between time skips. So what's her name? The baby is a toddler now.
I forgot her name.
Stuff happens, blah, blah, blah.
Second half, really slow in my opinion. Didn't care for it.
Yeah, it wasn't as good, but I've mentioned this a lot. With Brian K. Vaughan stuff, I think that we've all been kind of, what's the word, spoiled, because most of us, we've read like his books in chunks and not in single issues. And a lot of stuff is just not written well for singles anymore.
Yeah.
You talk to people who actually collected this in trade, they have a lot better things to say than us who've been reading it in singles.
Yeah.
So I think it probably still stands up pretty well if you read it in collection. One day I'll reread it. Next, Batman and Two-Face Face to Face Deluxe Edition. This is a 8-issue crossover written by one James Robinson with art by Don Kramer and Leonard Kirk. This takes place directly before Grant Morrison took over Batman, so this goes pretty nice on the shelf right before the Batman and Son oversized hardcover. Also, oversized hardcover of Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. This is Volume 2, collecting issues 1 through 11 of her second ongoing series, as well as Howard the Duck number 6, which tied into the series. There was just a little 2-issue crossover between the two books. Really enjoyed this, and you actually get kind of a almost like a Days of Future Past version of Squirrel Girl here, like just like an older future version. It's pretty fun. And then last on my pile here, Volume 2 of Daredevil by Brubaker. Read this years ago, excited to be able to upgrade to Omnibus. I'm hoping that they re-release Bendis' stuff so we can have that. And I also hope that they release something with Diggle's material because I'm a completionist and I want to have that in Omnibus between here and the Mark Waid stuff.
You want Shadowland? I couldn't.
I mean, I want all of that.
Yeah.
So that I can have it in the same format, because that would look pretty neat on the shelf. The last thing that I got is up at the top of my shelf up there, and it's I don't really feel like going up there right now. Absolute Preacher Volume 2. It's just as beautiful as Volume 1. But I did find a typo. In the back, original artwork for each of the trade paperbacks, and it says artwork for Volume 9, and then the next page also says artwork for Volume 9. The first one was supposed to read Volume 8.
Oh, wow.
Shame on you, DC.
I thought you were going to say it came out as Absolute Peacher or something. Like from
I don't know,
Georgia.
maybe.
The R was missing.
Absolute preachy. But that's it. And that Dragon Ball Super was the book that I read this week on top of all of my regular weekly stuff.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because that skipping what you said they skipped in Dragon Ball Super, that's a good 20 episodes into Super.
Yeah, because the first 14 episodes is an adaptation of Battle of the Gods. The next 14 they adapt Resurrection of F, and then the next chunk of 14 is the Universal Tournament. And they skip over Resurrection of F, and when they skip over it, it's weird because they end the chapter with the dude who resurrects Frieza saying oh, we gotta bring back Frieza, and then the next chapter begins with Goku and Vegeta training on Beerus's planet, and they use Super Saiyan Blue, and they mention oh, remember when we just beat Frieza right now? And so it's it happened, and they mention it, but they just skipped over it in this adaptation.
Oh, somebody wanted me on Twitter to mention this to you, Riley, specifically. They have cast 2 of the New Mutants.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that, I think.
Yeah, Wolfsbane and Magic have been cast. The first one is really interesting because this person is actually a current cast member of Game of Thrones. So with Game of Thrones, that doesn't bode well for this actress. Macy Williams apparently has been cast as Wolfbane, and Taylor Joy has been cast as Magic. Macy Williams plays Arya on Game of Thrones. That is a big character.
She's going to be killed then?
I mean, it would certainly be hard for her to film 2 shows at once.
Well, this is going to be a movie, so she could possibly do the movie.
Is it a movie? I thought this was a TV show.
No, it's a movie. I think they were going back and forth, but it's going to be a movie now. But it could be between seasons, and I know that they're supposed to have Game of Thrones final season is supposed to be coming up. So.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It is a movie. My mistake. Oh yeah, she could totally do it then.
But that's cool. I mean, do you know where Maisie Williams is from? Is she English or?
I believe she's English.
Because Wolfsbane, I believe she's Scottish. So it would have been cool if she was Scottish. It doesn't make the biggest deal to me. Anya Taylor-Joy, the one that they casted to play Magic, I've seen The Witch that she's meant to have been in, and she was great in there, though she now looks significantly different than she did there.
She was in The Witch?
And then I did not see Split, but I've heard good things.
Oh, her! Yeah, she was really good.
I haven't seen Split either.
It's good. It's pretty good.
I'm excited because Magic is one of my favorite.
Me too.
Mutants. Just like any mutant, any character that is not male.
Busted. That is totally true.
But she's really good. Yeah, she was really good in Split. She was really good in, I believe I know the character you're talking about in The Witch. I really dug The Witch. Anything else, Rye Guy?
That's it.
Nothing? Jess, you always read a shit ton of stuff, man. What do you got for us?
What?
What was that?
My phone has an Amber Alert going.
Oh, I thought it was a storm warning.
I did too.
I'm sorry. I just had an Amber Alert for a place that's 150 miles away. What did I get or what did I read?
What did you... Oh, we didn't cover what you got. What did you get? My mistake.
Okay. The first thing I got, Little Nemo.
Wow.
By Winsor McCay, so 1905 to 1909. This is one monstrous book. And so I got that.
I think there was a Kickstarter version a few years ago.
Was that this one?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to pull this one out to get to the other one. This is the biggest thing I've ever seen. This one. Let's see, and I'll buzz through what else I got. I got Roughneck, Jeff Lemire.
Medium sweet, get a nice
Woo.
coffee.
Hold on.
Is that me?
I think Luis is watching some porn.
Okay, I'll keep going. I also got Flash, Mark Waid. I got 3 volumes of Lady Mechanica.
Was that you? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jess.
No problem. I'm just
It's,
glad it wasn't me.
No, it was my girl that she sent because our TV's like connected to the Wi-Fi in the house, and you could send a video from your cell phone to the TV, and she accidentally did that. Sorry.
No problem. So, Lady Mechanica and Superwoman, Rebirth Superwoman. And I also got 2 issues. It was a big Mark Waid week. Black Widow, volumes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which I'm really pumped for. I also got Batman Two-Face right there. And I also got Little Boogie Picker right there. Saga number 2. And I got the Monster Bus.
Now that's one thing that I had to pass on because I'm not going to have enough money this month for that. And
I get it.
But I was intrigued, but I don't know that I would ever actually read it.
Yeah, this is more in my wheelhouse of Silver Age stuff, so I get it. And this stuff can be very ponderous because it's weird aliens and monsters, which are Silver Age stuff with monsters. It can be very ponderous, so I totally get why you would pass.
I'd rather have someone read it to me as a bedtime story.
And then the 2 books I read. Oh, I also got a Spike figure, Cowboy Bebop, from Tim Burnham in the group. After Sherlock Alexi goaded me into it, I got this guy. So I'm pumped for that. And then the books I read this week. Strange Fruit by Mark. No, let me do it so you can see it. Strange Fruit by Mark Waid. And then Mockingbird. The 2 issues of 2 paperbacks of Mockingbird were the 2 things I read. I feel like I read more than that, but these were the 2 things I read. 2 the first 2 things I reviewed for my channel. I loved Mockingbird. It reminded me of a little bit of the way that Hawkeye was written. It's super funny. She's a strong female protagonist. Thought it was great. Strange Fruit, really weak. Not into it at all. It was white guys writing about black people back in 1927, the Great Flood in Mississippi, and the black people are just sort of standing around until this sort of super black guy zips down from space and doesn't say anything. It's just a weird, empty book. I don't know. I was really just not into it. The artwork is gorgeous. I will say that. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. It's like Alex Ross, Norman Rockwell type artwork. But I mean, I know there's all these cliches, stick the landing, things like that. This didn't even launch off the springboard to stick the landing. It just stayed. It just stayed in neutral. It was a bit of a misstep, bit of a stumble. Not.
It kind of sounds like Mark Waid tried his hand at what's that book called? March, by the I believe it's a congressman or a senator.
Oh yeah, Congressman Lewis.
Yes, it sounds like he tried his hand to do something like that, only it didn't work out as well.
It's mostly white people talking, dropping the N-word, which I understand it's 1927 in the South, but it's mostly white people talking, and the black people in it just sort of stand around, and they really don't contribute much to the story, and there's really no protagonist to root for in the book. It's hard to root for this guy that's somehow sent down from space. He never speaks. He's naked and wears a Confederate flag as like a loincloth, which just struck a really wrong note for me. And it just seemed like somebody was, like you said, somebody was really trying hard to write about a civil rights issue, but not having suffered through any kind of civil rights issues, I think it's hard to write about them. And, you know, God bless Mark Waid. He's my favorite writer, and he wrote Irredeemable, which is my favorite book, but did not dig Strange Fruit at all. And Strange Fruit, the words refer to lynchings in the South. That was strange fruit that hung from the trees where the hung black people. That was a song that was written and then recorded by Billie Holiday. So that's my story.
I think it's important to note also, like you said, that just because you have a favorite writer doesn't mean that you're going to love every single thing that they put out. That's just natural. Not everything is going to be a home run by everybody, you know. My favorite writer today is probably Garth Ennis, and Lord knows he's had a lot of misses.
Yeah, I mean, you can say the same for, I guess, everybody. Warren Ellis has lots of good ones, but he's hasn't hit some. But this was the first thing by Mark Waid I really didn't like, but I loved Mockingbird. It gets the Omnidog seal of approval. I loved Mockingbird. And then Strange Fruit gets the Butterfly of Death.
I like this rating system. It's a good rating system, Jess. Keep it.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I read. And got.
All right, I'm gonna speed through my stuff. The first thing that I don't have here because I sold it off because I'm just gonna upgrade to the hardcovers is I read BPRD Hell on Earth Volume 15, the final volume in the BPRD Hell on Earth saga before they move on to the third and final cycle. Overall, very, very pleased with it. Very well done. Super well done conclusion. Yeah, it felt a bit rushed. It seems like, well, you know, we got to kind of wrap this up a little bit, but they introduced some really cool new elements, and some characters, man, some of my favorite characters, they go out, but they go out really well. I absolutely love what they did. I absolutely love how they wrapped up the Hell on Earth saga. Hell on Earth has been going on for, oh man, I don't know, for the better part of like 6-7 years, I want to say at this point. It's been going on for a while, and there was a lot of story to cover there, and I'm going to get into something a little bit later, but I think it wrapped itself up very, very well, and I'm super excited for what's next in the BPRD saga, even though I kind of don't know where they can take the story from here, because in some ways this seems pretty much as definitive of an ending as they can get, but we'll see what happens. So really excited about that one. The next one that I read, and this is one that you've read as well, Jess, Sheriff of Babylon, Volume 2, which, goddamn, right off the start, they hit you with some stuff that you were like, I'm really uncomfortable reading this. And
yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, it hits you. The first few pages alone hits you with some stuff that I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable with the way that they're treating this character, what's going on here. Tom King has said that this is basically the end of season 1 of a multi-season series that he is writing, and it's a very good season 1 if it's an ending. King, once again, he shows that he has a knack for dialogue and a knack for kind of pulling the rug under you and hitting you with one of the biggest gut punches. The last volume I gave a perfect to. This volume, I think, just reaches a little bit short of that. It's not that it's terrible or anything like that. It's really good. But the last volume, I don't know if you remember the last volume or if you read the last volume, Riley, but the last volume, it ends with just, it rips your heart out in the last volume. And it continues with the fallout of the last volume, and you see what leads to that. There is a scene in here involving the terrorists that they are chasing inside of this room between a whole bunch of characters that it kind of reminded me of kind of like a Quentin Tarantino piece where it's just dialogue. I mean, it's just pages of pages of pages, and the camera is panning back and forth between the characters, and they're just speaking, and the tension just builds up and builds up and builds up, and God, it was so good. It was really, really good. I absolutely love Sheriff of Babylon. If you are not reading this, highly recommend you guys go and check this series out. Probably one of the best series that's being published right now. I know I've waxed on about Tom King for the past year, saying he's one of the best writers out there, and I still hold on to that. And I think personally his indie work in certain ways is a lot better than his mainstream work. And yes, that's including Vision. That's including, well, I don't even know if I could even count. Yes, Omega Men is set in the DC universe, but that is so far removed from the rest of the DC universe, with the exception of Kyle Rayner, that I almost don't even count that as like a DC book. But yeah, pick it up. Sheriff of Babylon, fantastic. Set in Iran post 9/11. I believe it's Iran. And kick ass. 100% kick ass. Love this series. Can't wait to see it come back. And I hope we get a hardcover collection of that. The next thing that I've read, it's been 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, I just realized that since I was on a show. The Abe Sapien, the new volume of Abe Sapien, the latest one, volume 8. This one was interesting in the sense that if you are a long-term Hellboy reader, this ties heavily into the Bogowitch story, which is a story that was a really long time ago. It was probably like the mid-2000s, early 2000s. It was a Hellboy story that was kind of a few issues. Great series, continues to be fantastic. This is, in many ways, the other half of the BPRD Hell on Earth story. You're seeing what's going on with Abe Sapien because he's not with the BPRD at this point. And he's basically just traveling around the world, around the United States, and he's trying to discover the secrets of his origin. How does his origin tie into the end of the world? How does his origin tie into the apocalypse? How does his origin tie into the Ordu Jahad? I believe that's how you pronounce it. Fantastic series. I love Abe Sapien. Really one of these stronger side stories of the BPRD and Hellboy universe. And I believe there's another volume after this, but great, great stuff. If you've read BPRD or if you plan to read BPRD, I have a video on my channel that is pretty up to date. It's about a year old, so you're only going to be missing a few trades that kind of covers it. But I really think that if you're going to jump into the Hellboy universe, this is one of those titles that you really need to read, especially going towards the end of Hell on Earth, because it ties in a lot. The next thing that I read, and this is going to be the review that is going up tonight for patrons, I believe, tomorrow for everybody else, Planet Hulk. I reread Planet Hulk because the movie's coming out pretty soon. One of my favorite Hulk stories of all time, super fun. General gist of it is that, well, Marvel editorial decided we're going to do Civil War. Hulk is too powerful to put on one side or the other because he'll unbalance the team. So what are we going to do with it? We're going to send his big green ass into space. So Greg Pak writes it with a slew of different artists, and the general premise is that the Illuminati decide Hulk is way too powerful. He has wrecked a whole bunch of cities. We're going to trick him. We're going to send him into space, and we are going to send him off. Things go horribly wrong because the planet that he was originally going to be sent to was something malfunctions in the computer, and he lands on this war planet named Sakaar.
Krypton.
Huh?
Krypton.
No, although that would be pretty badass. I would actually love to see that. He lands on the planet of Sakaar, and it's basically Gladiator in space. If you've seen the movie Gladiator, Hulk gets sold into slavery. Hulk fights in the gladiator pits. He eventually becomes king. This is one of those stories that actually has a bit of a tragic ending. It's an ending that I personally didn't see coming the first time I read this, and I went, oh, shit. So it's really, really good stuff. If you've ever had kind of the thought that, I'm not interested in the Hulk, he's just kind of dumb. The Hulk in this story is actually a lot more intelligent. He's able to kind of focus in on Bruce Banner's intelligence and use military strategy and things like that when he's fighting. Really, really good read, guys. This is probably one of the best Hulk stories I've ever read. Granted, I haven't read the Peter David run. That's all you, Riley. But I love this run. Last one on the deck is Berserk Volume 5. Continuing the Berserk hype train that Riley has started a lot of us on. Continues to be great. Really interesting stuff. I don't want to give away too much. Character of Griffith, I don't trust him yet. And, if you've gotten through the prologue, you know why. But good stuff. And that's all I'm going to say about this. So that's what I read.
Nice. I totally agree with Planet Hulk. I love that story.
Oh, I love Planet Hulk is so good. And the side characters you're introduced, you really start to grow and like them. And they set it up so well, so when World War Hulk happens, you get Hulk's motivation as to why he's pissed off and why he's coming to Earth to wreck shit.
Yeah.
So anything else?
That's funny because the Illuminati decided to send him to space, but it was actually Ben Grimm's idea.
Was it really Ben Grimm?
Yeah, there's an arc of Fantastic Four by JMS that precedes Planet Hulk, and it's going to be collected in the Planet Hulk Omnibus, where Hulk is like doing some shit in Las Vegas, and Ben Grimm, like after they wrap it up, he says something in passing like, we should just shoot him into space or something like that. And directly thereafter, like Reed is like, not a bad idea. He consults the Illuminati, and that's when it leads into Planet Hulk. Well, it leads into the Planet Hulk Prelude.
Yeah.
By Daniel Way, which has barely any connection to the actual Planet Hulk.
But it's good stuff, man. Oh, I didn't know that about Ben Grimm. I wonder if it was one of those things where Grimm walked up after the whole thing and went, "I was joking."
Why did you have to do that, Reed?
Yeah, I know you're kind of a dick, but god damn, man.
I was playing.
So do we have anything else we want to cover before we jump into Guardians non-spoiler talk?
Let's see. There's a new Hellboy movie announced. There's a Deadpool cartoon series announced. I believe a Judge Dredd TV series was announced.
Yeah.
And another Deadpool omnibus was solicited. That would be his eighth Deadpool omnibus.
Wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and so that the upcoming one, in Marvel's efforts to omnibize every single bit of material he's been in, is collecting all of Victor Gischler's material, the Merc with a Mouth series, Prelude to Deadpool Corps, and Deadpool Corps, as well as Deadpool Team Up. And I'm thinking because of the page count, it might also collect the Suicide Kings miniseries, but I'm not 100% on that. So with that said, I'm openly expecting a 2-volume Daniel Way omnibus set.
Oh yeah, yeah. If Deadpool's name is on it, it's gonna get printed.
And people are gonna fucking buy it too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty.
You're part of the problem.
Because I've gotten so far in like they released so many where I'm like, oh, I actually like that run. I actually like that run. I want that in the omnibus. Yeah. To the point where I'm like, I might as well just buy all of them, like, and keep the collect complete.
Yeah, you're on the way there.
Written by one of your favorite writers, Daniel Way.
As much shit as I've given it, I've also mentioned that the first third of that run I actually enjoyed before it went downhill. So I'd probably go ahead and buy it. You know, that's me putting my foot in my mouth, but it's one of the few times I'd purchased something that I actively have spoken out against.
Mm-hmm.
But I will not purchase it unless it is an omnibus. I'm not going to buy the trades. I'm not going to buy the complete collections because I don't want to like mismatch my collection.
Right.
Yeah,
Totally.
chance, like it's gonna get an whatever. If it has Deadpool in it, it's gonna get an omnibus, guys. That's a given at this point. It's a character that sells a lot.
I think that's like all the big news things from the past week at least what I remember.
Yeah, me and Jess are gonna cover a lot of that stuff in detail on the news show sometime this weekend, whenever.
Oh yeah, when are we doing that?
That's a good question.
Right now.
It will be sometime this weekend because Mother's Day is this weekend. So.
Right.
Also, Captain America is still a Nazi.
That's true. That is very true. And he waves that flag real proud.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are burning their books and a whole bunch of
people continue to overreact.
That was pretty funny because they're burning the free comic.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to try and make a statement, you could at least spend some money and then burn it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and even then, Nick Spencer still gets the money.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And they get the attention.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not really the right way to go about it because you're just pushing attention towards something that you don't like.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that from the perspective I've enjoyed the story overall, and I'm hoping that it wraps up well. If it doesn't, then I'll say so, and I'll say, yeah, this was bullshit. It started well, it ended poorly, but yeah.
God, that reaction has been just so insane.
Really has been.
Oh, God. You really start to see kind of the toxic side of this community when you start seeing that crap. Ugh.
Someone play with their dog. Who's whining?
Well, that's my dog. He always whines. It doesn't matter for whatever reason he whines. He's a big whiner. You have no idea. God. We could be in another room and he'll start whining. He's half Shar-Pei, so that's part of the breed. So Shar-Peis either have one of two halves. Either they're aggressive or they whine a lot. Guess which half we lucked out with.
Mine just barks a lot.
Okay, so do you guys want to just move into Guardians?
Sure.
Move into Guardians.
Okie doke. All right, so this is how this is going to work. We give you a warning every time. First half of this is going to be spoiler-free. We're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, but we will not be going into details on the plot or anything like that. We're just going to give our general thoughts on it. And then we will warn you. We'll give you a warning, give you 10 seconds to leave, and we will tell you, look, we're going to be talking about spoilers, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm assuming most of you at this point have seen the damn movie because a lot of you out there are super hardcore fans, and the movie made like 400-something million on its opening weekend this weekend.
Oh, did it really?
Worldwide, it's grossed, I think, already like 400-something million. Something ridiculous like that. But then again, it was also out in the UK and other places for like a week ahead of time. But overall, it's gross like over 400 million already. It's insane how much money this movie's made. So first off, what did you guys think of the film overall? Who wants to take it off?
Riley, why don't you start?
Overall, I was satisfied.
Same.
Same. I was very happy with it.
That's the consensus. We're all satisfied. End of show. Good night.
Good night, everybody. That
We
was
loved
fun.
it. Bye.
Jess, where can they find you? No. Overall, I was pretty happy with it. The first half left me going, this is good. Where the hell is this going?
I see where that comes from, because the first half, by the time we got to the final act, I guess, or almost to the final act, I was like, wait a second, do we have a major villain in this movie?
Dude, I was thinking the same damn thing. Halfway through it, I'm like, okay, this is really good. What's the villain?
Yeah.
Because technically, they set up their own. They kind of screwed themselves over at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, but it was cool because, like, I actually would have been cool if there really wasn't a major antagonist.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have been okay with a movie that just kind of went forward, because it breaks the mold. It breaks the typical plot line that you get from every single superhero movie. And I think that this kind of still went against the basic plot line that we've gotten from every Marvel movie. And it stood out to me as probably the best sequel of any of these comic book movies since maybe Winter Soldier.
I can see that. Yeah.
Because of the fact that it doesn't make itself tie into the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, it stands completely on its own. They didn't try to, like whenever Iron Man 2 came out, it was just a stepping stone to the Avengers. Like, they were just trying to move the character forward and form connections with other things so that they could get to the Avengers movie. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 just continues to delve deeper into the characters that you're already familiar with, expand their like the character roster by introducing new characters that are already related to the characters that you know, and it stays in that sphere of things. Like, it doesn't try and expand and be like, hey, but also guess what? There's this item that Doctor Strange knows that is also connected to Groot for some reason, or like, you know, Iron Man created a spaceship that the Guardians are using to travel between the planets. Like, there's none of that bullshit, and there's no like, you know, this is going to connect us directly into something with the Avengers. So that's what you're hoping for. I'm sorry it's not there. That's a mild spoiler, but so I'm sorry about that as well. But I think that the movie is all the better for that.
I am in total agreement with you. That what I like is the fact that this seems like James Gunn has his own little corner of the Marvel universe that he gets to play in. That Kevin Feige and all the Marvel executives say, look, just, you know, mention Thanos like once or twice in the film, but the rest of it is, that's all you. Have fun, do whatever you want, go play, you know, film whatever you want to film, and don't worry about really having to tie this in to the greater Marvel universe. I love that because there's already enough stuff that is tied into the Marvel universe. I mean, every single movie ties into the movie before or another movie that's coming up. The Guardians films feel in some ways like they are completely independent of all that. Which, in a way, it should feel that way because they are in a completely different, like, galaxy. They're in another universe. I mean, they're not another. They're on a totally different planet. They're not near Earth.
Yeah, I liked how they took the time to flesh out the characters more, and you learned a little bit more of some of the backstory on some of the characters. Obviously, Star-Lord you learned about, but you got to know. Well, wait, let me make sure I don't spoil anything. You just got to know a little bit more about each character, and they introduced some new characters that I thought they brought back Nebula, and the interplay between the sisters I thought was really effective, and I thought Mantis was really great, and of course Baby Groot was awesome. And we'll talk about that the sequence at the after credits scene with teenage Groot. It just cracked me up.
I think personally the second half is more stronger of a film.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like there's a point in the movie where Star-Lord goes, "I'm gonna make some shit up" or something like that, and I was like, okay, that's where the movie really takes off for me.
I laughed throughout the entire movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so did I. No, there's some moments that are genuinely funny. There's one particular scene though involving Baby Groot that I was like, oh, this is hilarious. The scene on the ship.
Scene on the ship.
Can't talk spoilers yet.
Okay.
Where they're locked up, where certain characters are locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved when Star-Lord plays ball with his dad. That was really funny.
Yeah, that was good. But overall, I mean, I guess if I would have to score it, I'm not crazy on the whole numbering thing. 8.5 for me.
Yeah, I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was perfect. Perfectly perfect. I loved it.
Perfect 5 out of 7.
Always the renegade.
What is that in percentiles?
70 template.
I don't know. No, I agree. I don't really like number scoring and stuff. I extremely enjoyed it out of my satisfaction quotient.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was giving a customer service survey, I would probably say completely satisfied.
Yeah. I want to be clear. I didn't hate the movie before somebody out there goes, "Oh, he fucking hate." I didn't hate it. I actually think it's one of the better Marvel sequels. I had a lot of fun with it. I laughed throughout the whole thing. It's just, Guardians is my favorite of the MCU movies, and it didn't quite hit that bar for me as the first one.
Yeah, the first one was top notch, the best Marvel movie ever, the best superhero movie ever, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't rewatched the first one since I think it first came out on Blu-ray. But every time, so I could be wrong since it's just me being in my own head. But when I think about that movie, my thought is basically like, it's only that good with the initial viewing, because it's something that I didn't expect to get that much out of it. But in retrospect, I'm like, did it really do something that great for me to love it so much? And I don't know, because I need to go back to it. But like when I would rewatched it, because I've rewatched it a couple times, like right after it came out on Blu-ray, and each time I was like, okay, like by the last time I had watched it, I was like, all right, well, I don't feel like I need to watch this anymore. I'm done. And this movie though, it did more with the characters, because the first one didn't do enough for me with the characters themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of was like, hey, these guys are weird and they probably shouldn't work together, but here you go. And it's kind of, I mean, that's kind of a trope that we've seen before in movies and stuff. But the second one, it continues with that, and instead of just being like, yeah, they're still here and they're still weird, they're like, yeah, they're still here and they're still weird characters that probably shouldn't work together, but let's get emotional with them and show you what makes them tick and show you what makes them special, and actually give them dimension, instead of just being like, this is a tree that has limited vernacular, this is a raccoon that doesn't like to be called a raccoon, this is a large muscle man who like doesn't understand metaphors, this is a lady.
That's right. Nothing goes over my head.
Nothing goes over my head. I would catch it. And then there's a handsome guy named Chris.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, cookie cutter type stuff. I guess not very cookie cutter, because not every movie has a limited vernacular tree. But it's very, the characters were very limited in scope. And then you get into this movie and it's like, well, this character really cares about this. And this character, his opinion of everyone else is this. And this character doesn't care about this, but they care about this. Like it makes you appreciate the relationships between all of them much better, I think.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, I would say that this one probably exceeds the first movie, in my opinion. However, the second movie's soundtrack does not exceed the first movie.
No.
Not at all. Not even
It
close.
has some really great tracks, and like there are, what is it? The Chain by Fleetwood Mac is a favorite of mine. Mr.
Right.
Blue Sky by ELO is another favorite of mine.
Mhm.
And My Sweet Lord by George Harrison is an absolute top track for me of all time.
Yeah.
But outside of those three songs, the rest of the soundtrack like is skippable. Whereas with the first volume, the first movie soundtrack, my wife and I had that on repeat for like months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, same for me. The first time that first soundtrack, I bumped it in my car. I've lost track of the amount of times that I listened to that summer when that movie came out. Just it's so many classic songs on there. And I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but for me, it kind of felt a little bit like overkill in certain scenes for me. Like, okay, they incorporated the music in intelligent ways, but there were some times where I was like, this is a bit too much. There's too many classic songs on here.
I didn't even consider some of those songs classic. I thought that they were more like B-sides practically. That they weren't. I didn't consider them in the same league as the first album of songs. This version, like Riley was saying, I mean, they weren't. There weren't as many classics like there was where every single song was a classic.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of clunkers in there for me on this soundtrack.
Some of them only worked in the context of the film. So like I listened to the soundtrack before I saw the movie because they released it earlier, and I was like, and then I saw the movie, and then when I re-listened to the soundtrack, like I was listening during my lunch break today, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the one that they used in this scene, and then I was thinking about that sequence and how well the song worked in that sequence. But sometimes I don't care enough, and I would still skip it because I was like, I know that George Harrison is right after this, and I'd rather listen to him. And then I just move away from that album and just listen to more George Harrison.
I love the fact that out of all the characters that seem to get the most play and the most development, Yondu was the one that got the most developed in this film. And I think, you know, he was cool in the first movie, but it wasn't until you get into this film that you really start to discover that relationship that Peter Quill had with him. And they reveal some things that even tie in really well into the first movie in regards to how and why Yondu chose this kid.
It was like Harry Potter.
Yeah, he becomes a really likable, fun character, and you understand his motivations now that he's more fleshed out. I agree. I think he was probably the highlight of the film.
Oh, he's every single Michael Rooker for me stole that film. Like that was basically his movie.
Yeah.
In many ways.
But once we get into spoilers and stuff, I will inform you all of my favorite scene.
Okay.
But
does it involve a certain umbrella?
Yeah.
No, it actually
Mine does.
not, but I will certainly inform you.
All right. I think we could. Okay, let's just give them the warning. Let's jump in because I think we're all eager to get into spoilers. So you guys have 10 seconds right now. If you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, to jump out of the chat and then come back into it later when you see the film. We are warning you right now. We are going to be talking spoilers. We are going to jump into the film in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay. Holy shit, The Watcher. Nobody else? Okay.
That wasn't even what really had me like holy shitting.
Was that who Stan Lee was talking to?
I almost stood up in my chair in the theater because I didn't know they had the rights to The Watchers.
Is that who Stan Lee was talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, those are Fantastic Four characters.
Right.
So
First,
I didn't know they had the rights to him, so I was freaked out. And for a split second, I was like, did they get the rights to the Fantastic Four?
Oh.
Yeah, because his first appearance was in an early issue of Fantastic Four, so there's another deal being worked out there. But it's not the first. Like, Marvel's done multiple deals to get characters from Fox in the past.
Well, I looked online, and what it is that Marvel can use the Watchers. They cannot use Uatu.
Okay.
Now, I know that this is just Wikipedia, and they tell you not to use this for citing on school papers. But Wikipedia says Uatu by name is seen.
Really?
Oh, really?
But that's just, like I said, that's Wikipedia, so anyone can fucking edit that and
Yeah.
in there.
Because I was reading an interview with Kevin Feige, and they asked him, how did you get the Watchers? Because they originally appeared on Fantastic Four. And he says, well, we can use the Watchers. We cannot use or say Uatu specifically. It's kind of the same situation where they can use the Skrulls, but they can't use the Super Skrull.
Mm-hmm.
They can't use Super Skrulls?
They can't use the Super Skrull, but they can use the Skrulls.
Okay.
But I did like, I'm going to say that that's probably the best, i.e. the most clever Stan Lee cameo that they've done, because it works off of the like fan theory that Stan Lee was a Watcher himself, while also completely shoving that theory into the dirt and telling you, nah, he's an informant of the Watchers.
Yeah, that was really cool. And he mentions how he was the FedEx guy, which ties into, I think, Civil War. That was a really nice little touch.
So that was really, really fun. But that and it was twice too. It was twice in the movie. It was like once in the middle whenever they're doing that like hopping through the warp hole thing, where you actually visit briefly other planets with other like alien life forms. Like, I think what's his name, the Korg or whatever, his planet was on there, and that character or one of his species is meant to appear in the Planet Thor movie, if you will, and also appeared in Thor 2, I think. I don't know, but that was another little Easter egg that popped up.
Did they swing by Titan? Because somebody said that one of the planets was Titan.
I don't know.
Yeah, I read somewhere that like one of the planets was Titan, which is Thanos' homeworld.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either. I was reading, I was like, oh, is it Titan? I must have missed that. What was the scene you wanted to talk about, Riley?
My favorite part of the whole movie is nipples.
The nipples. That was great.
I am a huge fan of nipples. I'm a huge fan of callback jokes, and that was just the end-all, be-all of callback jokes in that movie. Like,
it also explains why he doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah, because he says, like, it's like in the first, like, 10 minutes of the movie?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you wear your jetpack thing? And he's like, hurts my nipples. And then in the last 30 minutes of the movie, like a whole hour some odd later, my nipples!
When they strap him into the jetpack.
I laughed so, and it was great because as he was getting the jetpack and putting it on his back, I was like, oh my god, are they going to make a nipple joke? This is going to be awesome. And they did it, and it was everything I wanted, and that made that movie just the best.
What was great was that you hear him kind of screaming in pain as he's flying off too.
But and my wife Megan was sitting there cracking up along with me, and then I calmed down. Like, I stopped laughing. It took me a while because I love nipple jokes, and like anything to do with nipples and like poop. I love those jokes. But anyway, so I get over the joke and I look over and she is still like not breathing because she's laughing so hard through the rest of the movie. And then like I was like, we were going home and I was like, hey babe, and she's like, what? My nipples. So like every night I'll like roll over and we're like, all right, good night. My nipples. That's my favorite part of that movie, bar none. It was just hilarious and perfectly timed for me.
How do you feel about the inclusion of Mantis? I liked her. I thought she fit in pretty well. It's nothing like the Mantis from the comics.
No, not really. There's other Guardians characters that I hope that they use later. Like specifically from the DNA run where these characters were originally teamed up. But I mean, whatever. If it doesn't happen, Mantis was fine, and her role kind of helped to give us more emotional insight for Drax, I guess. So if anything, she at least gave us that.
Yeah.
One thing that I kind of wanted to touch on was I loved what they did with Ego. I think as a villain, they really set him up the first half. When you see that turn happen, you're kind of going, man, I really don't want this to go the way it's going to go. Because halfway through the movie, I'm like, okay, well, one of these two things is going to end up being the greater villain, and I have a feeling it's going to be Ego. Because if you know Ego. But they set him up so well, and then when you discover everything he's done, how he gave Peter's mom cancer and all this other stuff, and how he gave her the brain tumor, you're like, oh, you were such a fucking bastard.
Yeah.
God.
I was just caught in his dreamy eyes.
Oh, Kurt Russell is dreamy.
Yeah, Kurt Russell is just
oh, man.
He is a hunk right there.
Oh, yeah. He can still get it at this age.
He can get it. He's a dreamboat. Like I was watching Big Trouble in Little China, and I was like, "Whoo, that mullet!" Oh,
that is a great movie.
Hey, they did a good job at younging him up, though. At the beginning of the film, I was like, "God damn, okay."
That was amazing.
Yeah, they did a real good job.
Yeah,
I love that.
I totally believe that.
He was a great addition, and what I really liked there. Sorry, I'm playing with my toys.
Is that a euphemism?
What I really liked was that they kind of they introduced the concept of Star-Lord's father in the first movie, like the mystery behind it, to the point where right after the first movie came out, it was a huge question, like, who's Star-Lord's father? And James Gunn pretty much immediately was like, well, you'll find out in the sequel.
And
so he was already setting stuff up. And now with this one, they're setting stuff up apparently for the third Guardians movie too. So he's doing really well to not, and this is a problem with a lot of the Marvel movies, is the sequels don't really tie directly into something that happened in the previous movie. Most of the sequels just kind of happen. Like Iron Man to Iron Man 2 to Iron Man 3. There's really not many connective threads between the three, except for like the 10 rings, but that didn't really turn out how it could have. So, but in this, I mean, they're like, introducing the concept of Star-Lord's dad being a thing that you should be wondering about. And then, of course, there are 2 of the 5 post-credit scenes in this movie tease things that are probably going to be really big for Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah, let's talk about the post-credit scenes.
So there are 5 post-credit scenes. One of them just mentioned already was Teenage Groot, which was basically Star-Lord having a, father-son moment with Groot where he walks in on him. And it's like Vin Diesel's voice is like slightly squeaky teenager voice, which was great. The one other that we already mentioned was the final scene was the Watcher one, the second Watcher scene.
Okay.
And then the other 3, 2 of them tease really big things. One of them teases a smaller thing. The smaller one is, I don't remember Yondu's partner, but he winds up getting the fin because in the movie, of course, Yondu dies.
Right.
A really great death scene, by the way.
Oh
Yeah. Very moving.
Passes his fin, the thing that helps him control his arrows, to his like right-hand man. And so we see a scene with him trying to use it. So if he appears as a member of the crew later, it's possible that he could be trying to use Yondu's arrows. So that was a little bit of a tease. But the two big things were I already explained to them about nipples, by the way. Yeah. The two big ones, though, were the tease, because I don't have a beanbag.
You have a chair.
Yeah, but I don't have a beanbag.
No, this is what I have to live with.
Stop, Chewie. Stop. Get back. I'm trying to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Is that why you're wearing your Groot t-shirt?
Yeah. Thematic.
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 All right, come on, Chewie. Let's leave this trash panda be.
I'm not a trash panda. All right, well, the other two, the big ones are A, the original Guardians, or members of what we know as the original Guardians from the year 3000, are assembled into a team by the end of this movie. And two, or B, they introduce Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
That one, I was like, oh, crap, they're finally doing it.
That made me almost stand up in my seat. I thought that was major.
The most surprising part of that was the fact that the cocoon that we thought was Adam Warlock from the last Guardians movie was not. So what was that cocoon? Is my question.
My thing, my thought was, I saw it and I was like, Adam. It took like a second for me to process. I was like, Adam Warlock. It took me a split second for it to catch up with me.
I was just like, oh, fuck, like immediately. I was like, it's Adam Warlock, yeah. But I know they already mentioned that he's not appearing in Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity War, which I know some people are disappointed because inherently Adam Warlock and Thanos go hand in hand as characters. It's in the comics, like you really need, especially in those stories, you need Adam Warlock if you have Thanos. But if they're not going to use him in there, a lot of people have been concerned. But it's no longer called Infinity War Volume or Parts 1 and 2. It's called Infinity War and then something else.
My money's on Infinity Gauntlet.
Maybe he's in the thing that's after Infinity War.
Yeah.
The fourth Avengers movie. So, I mean, maybe they use him there. I don't know. Otherwise, he's just going to appear in Guardians Volume 3, which is fine. They'll have something else that will help them stop Thanos, whatever it is. But I was really, like, ecstatic about, like, all those OG Guardians appearing. Because that was kind of a thing where I was like, oh, Yondu is there. In the first movie, I was like, I wonder if there's any of the others floating around. And of course, the big one was Sylvester Stallone as Stakar. That was a big one. And then throughout the movie, because we knew that Sylvester Stallone was in there, and it was just a mystery as to who he was playing. And then you see him, and you're like, oh, it's Starhawk. So that's big. And then towards the end of the movie, during the funeral, of course, with Stakar, you also get Martin X, played by Michael Rosenbaum, who is, of course, and Luis mentioned this before we got on the video. It's Lex Luthor from Smallville. He's the guy. Martin X is the one with the big, like, diamondy-looking head.
Right.
And then later during the funeral, we see Ving Rhames, a.k.a. Marcellus Wallace, not looking like a bitch, playing Charlie 27. Michelle Yeoh, I'm reading the other actress name on here.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle Yeoh played Aletta, who Aletta is also, she's the female Starhawk. And then she also apparently played Krugar, which is the big red serpent, who is a is a sorcerer supreme that took place of Doctor Strange in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mainframe is the little bitty head in the post-credit scene that was excited about having everyone reunited. Mainframe in the comics was a future version of the Vision that Tony Stark, I believe, had created to defend the planet or something like that. In this version, it's voiced by Miley Cyrus.
I need to see this movie again so I can see that part specifically.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Miley Cyrus.
Yep, that's her.
I didn't either until I looked it up, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, Miley Cyrus is the robot head at the end of the movie.
I got to see that again. I need to see it while it's in theaters. Yeah. Well, my favorite scene was, a lot of people's favorite scene is when he goes, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That was
Mary
great.
Poppins, y'all.
That was a great setup.
I just love that.
Is he cool? Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, that was really a really touching couple of moments there at the end with Yondu and Star-Lord. I really dug that relationship at the end.
Yeah, Yondu definitely got the most play in this whole movie, and it's like you said, Yondu probably got the best death out of all the Marvel Cinematic movies they've done so far.
Yeah. And it was like a death that, for a character that matters. Like,
Yeah.
You formed a pretty decent, emotional bond, emotional connection to this character, and now he's gone. And it was a really, really well done death.
Yeah. In some ways, my girl just pointed this out, he kind of has that arc that Snape has with Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
In the end, Yondu was actually looking out for Peter Quill the whole time. He saw what Ego was doing because Ego hires Yondu to bring all these kids to the planet, and if they can't cut it and they don't have that celestial half, well, then Ego pretty much kills him.
Yeah, there's all the boneyard of skulls.
Right, and in Yondu was like, he saw what was going on. He's like, no, I'm going to keep this kid. Like, I can't let you go through with this.
Good guy Yondu.
Huh?
Good guy Yondu. With that the meme with the good guy whatever.
How'd you feel about Baby Groot? I thought that they used him just enough.
I agree.
I wasn't nearly as enamored with Baby Groot as like everyone else seems to be. I kind of like, I was a little disappointed that Groot's character was dumbed down to basically being a puppy. As much as I love puppies, it's like I feel like also I kind of made myself hope that Groot would like grow back into.
I did too. I thought, okay, by the end of this film, we're gonna get adult Groot.
Like I thought he was gonna be like something was gonna happen, and he was gonna grow himself into full-grown adult Groot, and then kick some ass. And then it didn't happen. So that was it was a little bit. Like I enjoyed Baby Groot in the opening sequence with the dance and stuff. That was really fun. But eventually, like, it just started getting to the point where I was like, okay, I get it. Like, you're dumb now.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently you curse a lot. According to Rocket. I do like that apparently Peter understands Groot now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, too. I mean, they've spent years together, so at this point, they probably just picked up, like, the dialogue. I didn't catch that. That's good. When Groot brings back the toe, that was good.
Yeah.
Is there like a freezer of severed toes somewhere?
Oh my god, man! I mean, the movie. There were some scenes that genuinely just had me dying laughing. Nebula and Gamora. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with that. They set up a few scenes, especially where you get the background of like Thanos would take out piece by piece of me every single time that I failed fighting you, and I was like, wow, Thanos really is that big of an asshole of a father. I can't wait for him to get off his space launch here and get his ass beat in Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, that was a twist that I didn't know about with Nebula. I didn't have any idea about that. So I thought that was great that they threw that in. That Gamora was always winning and she was getting pieces replaced. That was pretty cool. And I liked Gamora's relationship with Peter at the very end too. I guess we probably knew that was going to happen.
Oh yeah, yeah, for a while. Mantis overall, I thought was a welcome addition. I thought it was really well done. I liked her character, but at the same time, I feel like maybe she didn't get enough to do in the movie.
Have you seen her in real life?
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yowza!
The actress is gorgeous. in real life.
Holy guacamole!
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to chime in?
I like the one scene, I can't remember where it came in, but it was the 5 Guardians, including Baby Groot, in a slow motion walk. And just seeing Baby Groot slow motion Studley walk was just cracking me up.
Come on, man. How could you hate Baby Groot, Riley?
I don't hate Baby Groot. I just
You hate joy. You just hate happiness and cute things.
I mean, in general,
He likes hate.
everything needs to be extreme and dark and gritty and 90s if you can help it.
This movie would have gotten a perfect score by Riley if at the end Baby Groot was put through a wood chipper.
If at the end of the movie, if Baby Groot all of a sudden like turned into Badrock from Youngblood or whatever, and has like 50 pouches all over his body. Am I thinking of the? Hold on. Yeah, Badrock and Youngblood. Yeah, I'm thinking of the right thing. If Baby Groot all of a sudden turned into physically the same as Badrock from Youngblood and had about 50 pouches all over his body and like was voiced by Rob Liefeld, then I would have loved it. It would have been an A+ movie, but instead it's an A- because it didn't happen.
You just hate joy. And cute things. It's fine. We've accepted that. I thought it was a nice little touch about the Aisha. What was the name of the gold lady? I forgot her name. Aisha?
Oh, yeah. All those gold people.
Yeah, it was a cool little touch how like they're not really in the spaceships and like you hear the old classic video game sounds, how they're trying to pilot the ships and everything like that. I thought that was pretty cool touch. Huh?
My butt hurts.
So I think we've covered it.
Yeah, I don't have much else. My main points about the movie were really just I thought that they delved a lot into the characters, which really helped it to be fantastic. I loved a lot of what they set up for the next one, and I mean it got me really pumped, and now I really, really, really want to read my classic Guardians Valentino 90s omnibus.
How is that stuff?
I still haven't read it, but I've looked through it so many times, and the characters in there are so cool and interesting, and I think I'm ready to delve into it pretty soon. I'd probably wait after Berserk, but
yeah,
at some point.
So much taser face.
Oh God, your face.
I love Rocket's being interrogated and he's cracking on taser face. Oh, how can we forget about the Hoff?
Oh my gosh, that's right.
How can we forget about the Hoff? Who raps in the end credits?
Yeah, that really cracked me up. Although I always have a problem with him just being even remotely popular because I always want to punch him in his face. but it's
Oh.
still funny.
He's huge overseas, man.
Yeah, I know. That's what he hangs his hat on.
He is very much well loved overseas. Although I've heard he's kind of a dick in real life.
Yeah, I believe it.
All right, so it's 10 o'clock my time. Do you guys want to go ahead and wrap this up?
Yeah, I got some reading to do.
Yeah, I have reading to do too.
I'm in the middle of the newest issue of Deadpool, and that issue is like 80 pages long.
Jesus.
Deadpool is like wandering around on the moon.
Okay, so to sum it wow. To sum it up, Jess loved it. I liked it. Riley hates anything that is cute, and he hated the film. So
But it got 3 thumbs up.
and it could have used more Baby Groot dying.
Yeah, it could have. Not my fault.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Jess, where can they find you, sir?
They can now find me in 2 places.
Hey.
Not only can they find me in Riley's Facebook group, the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community, they can find me on my own YouTube channel, Omnidogs Vault, which just went live today.
It already cracked over 100 subscribers. Look at that.
Woohoo! Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
I'm gonna make a prediction. Within 2 months, he's gonna crack 1,000 easily.
What? No way.
I'm saying within 2 months, you'll crack 1,000.
Oh, there's another big Jess thing happening. The vinyl of your theme song.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Nathan Burkholz has a Kickstarter campaign going to make a 7-inch 45 of the Omnidog theme song, which he did completely without my knowing about it. And it's the funniest damn song. And if you want to go to Kickstarter to back it, you look under, you just look up Omnidog. But he's going to have several versions of the song on it. And it may even include my brother-in-law, who is an operatic singer. So there might be an opera version of the song, too.
That is awesome. I want a copy now.
Nathan's a good guy. I really appreciate it.
But yeah, once again, that is Omnidogs Vault. You can find that on YouTube. Just type it in, and you'll find Jess's channel. It's the first thing that should come up. I've subscribed to it.
Thank you.
And I believe, Riley, you have as well, right? Or you're about to? I don't know. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. We'll go with that.
He hasn't.
He's about to right now.
He's doing it right now?
No, I did it like right when we started the show.
Oh, okay. Right when we started the show.
Yeah, I went on there as soon as you mentioned the name, and got on there. Like when I got on there, you had when I got on there, you had like 2 subscribers, and now you have 181.
I told you,
right?
He's gonna crack.
Subscribers.
He's easily gonna crack over 1,000 within the next 2 months.
Man, I better pump out some quality product then.
Yeah.
I need to start making videos, or else Jess is gonna pass me up.
Oh, he'll pass me.
Shit.
But yeah, Riley, where can they find you?
Well, not on a channel that's doing so great as Jess's. You can find me on my stinky old channel where I don't make any videos. So just look up The Omnibus Collector on YouTube. You can also find me on my website, theomnibuscollector.com, where I actually posted a pretty generally well-received article that was going over a bunch of all new, all different Marvel Now titles that have ended, which I enjoyed and believe are deserving of a oversized hardcover or omnibus type collection. So go out there. I've got that up. I've got a second part to that article. I'm hoping to post. It's completely written. I just need pictures. I'm hoping to post that sometime before the next week begins. And I also, of course, have the Facebook page, the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community, which has apparently spun into like 50 other pages now.
Yeah, a bunch of secret groups.
There are so many subgroups from that thing. I've lost track.
I woke up one morning and all of a sudden Sherlock had added me to an otaku group. An otaku group. So it's all about manga and anime, and I was like, all right, cool, I can do that. So I posted my anime or my manga gets on there. But yeah, I think that's about where you can find me and things and stuff.
Pretty soon there'll be a competitive basket weaving group or something like that spinning off of there.
Well, I'm waiting for there to be like a kettle group and
oh my god,
a specifically Valiant group, and maybe one day specifically a Berserk group.
Lewis's kettlers versus the microwaves. It's kettling all the way, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. Microwave water. What kind of savage is that?
The internet said that microwaving your water was healthier.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Fake news.
You're bullshit.
Fake news.
Okay.
Where can they find you? And
you can find me here on this channel at Heart. Hey, don't mock my kettle. We have an electric kettle. That thing is amazing. Sweetie, electric kettle or microwave for water? Kettle, right?
Faster.
It's faster.
It boils in like 47 seconds.
There you go.
Timed it.
See?
I use my Keurig.
Yeah.
That's what we have. We have an electric kettle.
I have no use for boiled water.
You don't have a use for boiled water?
No. I don't eat ramen and I don't drink tea.
I love tea.
Yeah, we drink tea here. So yeah, you can find me here. Just click the subscribe button if you like this. Facebook at Hardcover Reviews, Twitter at Hardcover Review, Patreon.com if you want to take it a step further. Me and Jess at some point this weekend will record the news episode where we will cover Hellboy announcement, we'll cover the Deadpool announcement, we'll cover a whole slew of announcements that have come out this week, as well as movie trailers and all that other stuff. I know the Dark Tower trailer came out, so I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on that, Jess, because you've read the books and you love the books. So we will cover that as well. That's all on the Patreon level for $5 or more. So check that out, guys, in the description. And there's something else. Oh, if you will be attending MegaCon 2017 in the next 2 weeks, Gabe and I will be having a get-together where we will have several members from the Facebook community that will get together, and we will meet and we will hang out, we will drink, we will eat, and just genuinely have a really good time. So far, we've gotten quite a few people actually that have said that they're going to attend, including Tyler said he's about 92% sure, so that's pretty much a yes. So Tyler from wow, I feel terrible right now because I don't. Super Squad D, he will be attending. Gabe from Infinity Watch, he will be attending, who you've seen on this channel. And I will be there, and a few other people from the Facebook group will be there as well. So if you are planning to attend, hit me up, and we'll give you some details, and we'll invite you to the group.
That's going to be
fun. That's going to be a blast. This is going to be, I think this is going to be the biggest hangout from like the Facebook group that we've seen, because if we get everybody from Orlando that we've had, that we know is from the Facebook group, we'll have close to about 10, 12 people.
Wow.
Well, someone needs to like get me out there. But I
Who
don't
wants to
have
fly?
the money.
Who wants to fly
off days either?
Who wants to fly Riley out to Orlando? I could pick him up from the airport. That won't be a problem.
I'll walk. I'll walk from Austin to Orlando. Starting now, I'll make it for the convention.
What's Gabe and Lewis's next horrible movie? I don't know right now. We have not decided. We're thinking about doing Miami Connection.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
We don't know yet. So we're going to go ahead and end this. I'm wishing you all a good night tonight, everybody. Hope everybody sleeps well, and we'll speak with you soon. Bye.
Later.
Peace and love.
Bye.